Guess what, beautiful people? Acting is the art form of life, and I'm pretty sure I've been studying it my whole life. I'm Pirvu. I'm a professional actress and journalist. I love the creative arts. I love learning, and I love imparting what I learned from this incredible, collaborative, connective medium. And when you study people for a living and appreciate academics as much as I do, you collect interesting life lessons worth sharing. Things I wish they taught in school. Like how to think, not what to think. Understanding our emotions by accessing and harnessing our inner resources. Finding that personal voice, our spark, and the confidence to share it openly with the world for all of our greatest benefit. So I created Pep Magazine, a digital wellness magazine geared towards inspiring youth to do just that. To put some pep in that daily step and make a mindful, positive lifestyle a priority. Pep Live became the next logical step. Welcome to the Bouncing Up Place, a weekly forum where we engage in meaningful conversations that educate, empower, and elevate. An open, safe space to be who you are, this completely interactive, judgment-free zone recorded every Soul Sunday on my Instagram Live account with anyone that wishes to participate, share, and learn from one another with kindness, sensitivity, and curiosity. So are you ready, sparklers? Let's pep life.
When you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water rises, you build a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, they're screaming
Your name. Woo!
Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay.
Ready?
Hope that you fall in
Love.
and it hurts so
Bad.
Only way you can know, you give it all you had.
Woo! That's right.
And I hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. Hope when the moment comes, you'll say,
I gave it all. I gave it all. Woo!
every second this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. With every broken
Boom! I swear I lived. Woo! Yeah, people! Whoa! Oh, broken bone. I swear every broken bone. I swear I live. Woo! Happy Soul Sunday, beautiful people! I swear I lived. I am wearing my sexy love sunnies today. You know why? Because it's Pride weekend here, and they are rainbow colored. And happy Pride to everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for a very special Soul Sunday. You know why? Because today we're doing something super special. We are simulcasting on our brand new Twitch Pep Live channel. Isn't this so much fun? Look at this little cup. I am so excited. I'm telling you, I have always wanted to have an amazing talk show. And guess what? Because of Twitch, we are doing it. Look at that. I already have little love and Pirvu logged in here. How exciting. This makes me so insanely happy. I can't tell you. Hi, gorgeous, gorgeous people. Look at all my dear friends. Who do we have in the house? We got Mexico in the house. We got Brazil in the house. Oh, look at this. Betty Full Gourmand, a lovely French restaurant that I went to last week, is joining us today. Hi, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate you being here. Medici.crown. Hey, sexy sister, what's going on? Fairy Light, my beautiful friends. We've got Mexico. We've got Brazil. We've got some Canada going on here. We've got some U.S. friends. How are you guys? Happy Soul Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me. Who else is in the house? Ooh, Peter Meach. What's going on, Peter Meach? Love you dearly. Thank you so much for joining. Who else? Oh, I'm scrolling backwards here because there's so many beautiful people saying hello. Sunflower of GOGH. Hi, sister. Nice to see you, beauty. Oh, my German friends. My sweet Lisanne. Gorgeous. Thank you so much for joining. Adri, Romania's in the house. What is going on? What is going on? Guys, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for joining us on this very special broadcast, because today we are talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. And I think it's worth talking about. We're talking about vulnerability today. And you know why? Because it is a source of strength. It is our biggest source of strength. And by the end of this hour, we will figure out exactly why and how to take that energy and mold it and use it to our advantage so we can all be our best possible selves. Because this is what we do here on Soul Sunday. We have meaningful conversations about various topics that essentially help us navigate life. And they're all self-development based and things that I wish they taught in school, because, you know, when I was in school, you know, we had a lot of pressure on us to just sort of do well. But there are so many other awesome things that I wish, you know, we would have been able to discuss. So this is how we do it, friends. Before we get started, I want to give a massive shout out to my beautiful girl from Germany, Isabel. She started something called Pep Mag Week. And sweetheart, I cannot tell you how grateful I am from the bottom of my heart. It has been so lovely to watch you take Pep Mag and our message and the Pep Life and just take it to a whole new level. And your effort and your energy means the world to me, and you're wonderful. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Also, thank you every single one of you beauties that is here right now, and that we already have a few amazing followers here on our Twitch broadcast. I honestly could not believe it. This is I am freaking out. But thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting our efforts and for joining and for being a part of these awesome conversations that we have every week, because it makes a world of difference, you know, and this is a safe, open forum for you all to express yourselves and for us to have meaningful conversations, because this is the stuff of life. So, without further ado, I want to talk about why we started with that awesome One Republic song, I Lived. It's called I Lived for a reason, because I think that to have the courage to be your most authentic self, like we talked about in our Patreon podcast this week about honesty, to have the courage to be your honest self and have that be your starting point in life is paramount. It's wonderful. It's life-giving. That is how you truly live. So I wanted to start with that song because it's going to set us up and put us in a really good mood for what we're talking about today. More than that, I have my handy-dandy iPad here today, because what did I want to talk to you about? There's this amazing quote that a friend of mine shared last week. I want to tell you how and why I think it's important to talk about vulnerability before we even dive into this topic. So there's this beautiful quote by Ernest Hemingway, okay? And he says, "The best people possess a feeling for beauty, the courage to take risks, the discipline to tell the truth, the capacity for sacrifice." Wow, wow. Ironically, their virtues make them vulnerable. They are often wounded, sometimes destroyed. Wow. Doesn't that sort of say it all? Oh my God! Jade Baldrini, look at that, sweetheart. We have a new follower. Welcome to the Pep Squad. This is so exciting. Sorry, we're like simulcasting on this little thing and things are popping up and I'm so excited. But essentially, it is so valuable to recognize that there's a duality to everything that we talk about in life. There's a duality to everything in life. So vulnerability, I'm going to propose to you today, is our biggest strength, because it allows us to express ourselves, to be our true selves, and to be who we are. At the same time, just like Ernest Hemingway just said, it can often leave us wounded, and it is a source of pain, you know. I wanted to share with you some thoughts that I had before we start here. This is what vulnerability is to me, okay? To be vulnerable is to allow yourself to feel deeply. To be vulnerable is to allow yourself to feel deeply. And it's courageous because it opens the door to a lot of potential pain. But ironically, like the duality that we were just talking about, it's the sensitivity that allows you to express yourself authentically, honestly, and truthfully. And when you know that you can navigate whatever pain or whatever discomfort comes from that, you start to be truly free as a human being in this world and in this life and in whatever you ever wish to achieve. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to propose to you that no matter what, that is what we should strive for in life, in general, always. To be our highest and best and most authentic possible selves. You know? And I know it's hard, but sometimes it's worth it. And I'm going to tell you that it's worth it. Real Scarston, something popped up here. Let's see what you say, sweetheart. What if you don't like being vulnerable? What if you've allowed yourself to be that in the past and it ended really badly for you? How do you overcome that fear? Oh, sweetheart, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for starting us off like this. Let's unpack here what you say. What if you don't like being vulnerable? This is the first thing she says. My friends, does anyone ever like being vulnerable? No. To be honest with you, it's this feeling of discomfort. It's not fun. It's hard. It's hard to navigate, and let's just call it like it is. You know, it is. It's difficult to sometimes feel uncomfortable emotions. Is it part of life? Yes. Unfortunately, the thing that we can just accept because it's part of our humanity. You heard the term growing pains. Whenever we grow and we navigate life as human beings, it's inevitable. It's always going to be there. So even if you don't like being vulnerable, accepting it at face value is incredibly powerful. First and foremost, accepting that it's going to exist. It is there, so why not embrace it? You know, you're going to be vulnerable. Our survival instinct usually, in order to protect ourselves, sort of instigates that nagging feeling of, I want to belong. Am I good enough? Am I, are people going to like me for who I am? That's always going to be there. So let's accept that at face value. She goes on to say, what if you've allowed yourself to be that in the past and it ended really badly for you? How do you overcome that fear? Sweetheart, the first thought that popped into my head is one experience should never define what you do in the future for the rest of your life. So whatever happened in the past happened. We can't change that, And unfortunately, sometimes it goes our way and other times it doesn't go our way. And we need to accept that. Now, what we can do, because sometimes we can't really control the cards that we are dealt, right? With awareness, we can learn from what happened and understand that that was just one instance. And that in the future, we continue learning and we continue developing as human beings. And that's most likely not going to happen again. And even if it does, how you overcome fear, and I'm going to suggest some strategies here for you this hour. And in the second half of the broadcast, I would love to see your beautiful faces and to hear your beautiful voices. Okay, so we're doing that in about half an hour. But how you overcome the fear is to understand that A, one experience in your past does not define you. B, your biggest point of strength is right now in the decisions and the choices that you make right now. And because everything is new, you are new. Every second of every day, you are a new person, new opportunities coming up. Chances are it's going to go your way next. The next time is going to go your way. It's going to be okay. So don't assume the worst automatically. This is what happens when we feed into our fears. Our fears are there to protect us. But at the end of the day, if you live your life in fear, you're not really living, because you're just expecting the worst to be happening. So don't expect the worst. The world is going to favor your courage, all right? And here is why. Every time you put yourself out there, even if it seems like you failed momentarily, you're strengthening and reinforcing who you truly are. All right? Literally, you're showing the world, you're opening up, you're showing us who you truly are. And you cannot go wrong in that perspective. You can never, ever, ever go wrong. Those that will resonate with the person that you are will come towards you, and those that don't will peter out, you know? But because you were who you are, you're going to be happy. Because you were true to who you are, you're going to be happy, and much happier than you ever could be otherwise, you know? Reigning X Bash says, to be vulnerable to me is my worst nightmare. Ha! I'm really pistantophobic. Oh, is that a word? Am I learning something today? Is that what it's called? To have a phobia of vulnerability? To be pistantophobic. Oh, how exciting. That's awesome. Ascaret.m says, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's the courage to show up. Yeah, girl! Isn't that what we were just talking about? Isn't that beautiful? The courage to show up is worth everything. It's the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. And you know why, sister? Because you never have control over the outcome. That's the truth. So why not just embrace it at face value and see what happens? I always assume that great things are going to come my way because they do. Because why wouldn't they? You know, vulnerability is not weakness. It's our measure of courage. Ooh, I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for your beautiful words and the courage to express that. For the courage and the time that it took to say and do just that. I appreciate you more than you know. Love and Pirvu says, you are not weak if you are vulnerable. You are stronger than you know. Yes, my beauty. That's what I'm talking about. It shows your personality with honesty and strength. The hardest thing that we can do in life is be our authentic selves, overcoming these fears of not being accepted. There is an amazing TED Talk that I'm going to be alluding to throughout this conversation by an incredible woman, researcher, storyteller, Brené Brown. And she talks about where this fear comes our way, you know? So I'm going to be talking about that in about a second. The Kyle Baxter says, being vulnerable is always your toughest challenge to date. I like it. I like it. It is. It is one of the biggest challenges that we have. And especially, what do you guys think about this? Because I think that sometimes as a man, as a male in our society, it is a lot more difficult to show vulnerability consistently than it is for us lovely ladies. What do you think about that, okay? Tell me, write down your sparkly thoughts over here so I can share it for everyone so we can all learn, okay? Adri_M9 says, it is especially hard for those of us who've been emotionally abused, but interestingly enough, vulnerability also helps heal. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, my sweetheart. Yes, so again, we were talking about the past, and sometimes in life, most times in life, we are going to encounter certain struggles. There are going to be some people that are not going to be treating us the way that we should be treated. None of that is okay. I'm not even going to suggest that's even remotely okay, because we should all treat each other with kindness, sensitivity, and respect, always. And it's Pride Weekend this weekend, so look at these beautiful love glasses. How wonderful to celebrate the idea that we are all unique and that we should all respect each other and that our differences are all what makes us the most beautiful, the most unique, you know? Like, our differences is what we should be celebrating. However, emotional abuse, like Adri_M9 alludes to, is a lot more rampant than we know, and it oftentimes comes from other people's insecurities and from, you know, the way that others don't really know how to handle their own emotions. That's really what it boils down to, and take it out on others. And unfortunately, again, that's going to perhaps happen to us at different times in our lives. However, vulnerability helps heal, she says. Thank you for that, my love. And you know how? By talking about it. By being open, by communicating, by sharing experiences, by not victimizing ourselves. And I say this with the utmost respect for those that have experienced trauma and tragedy in their life. But there comes a point where we come out the other side of whatever difficulty we encounter, and we're able to talk about it in a helpful way, and it's always helpful to others. And the sharing of the experience and the sharing of the steps that have helped us along the way is what heals. And to share is to be vulnerable. And that's incredibly important, you know. So I think at the end of the day, this is how we can use vulnerability as our biggest source of strength. Opening up forums like this one, like here on beautiful Twitch. Look at my beautiful Twitch friends. Look at these messages. This is amazing. On Twitch, on Instagram Live right now, like we're having this beautiful conversation, and your courage to share and express. It is immensely helpful to open this kind of dialogue for all of us to understand one another and to relate and to heal. So thank you, Adrienne9, for sharing that. That's a beautiful point. Vulnerable, Alfred Ramsey says. Vulnerable, funny word. With the wrong people, it's horrible. With the right people, it's amazing. Shows character to do so with the right people. Ooh, what an interesting perspective, Alfred Ramsey. I like it. Now, I'm going to just add something to that because I think it's really, really valuable to be yourself and your true open self with everyone. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know if there are right and wrong people to share with. I think that you have to be your true self, true authentic self with everyone, and take me or leave me. You know, that's true courage, that's strength, that's vulnerability. Be vulnerable with everyone, and have the courage to do that, and that will set the tone for people to trust and take you at face value and respect you more in the long run. Because if you trust someone, you know you can build something with them in life. You know what I'm talking about? If I trust you and if you're straight up with me, then we can start. If I sense that there's some funny business going on, then I might not be inclined to even engage with you in life, you know? So being your authentic self with always, I think is worth it. So thanks for sharing that, Alfred Ramsey. You're amazing. Ooh, I have some beautiful messages here from Twitch. Who says, D-Chain-ZZ, I am sad and low, please help. Oh, sweetheart, I love you. Thank you so much for being here today. And the most important thing is that you're here. This is how we all help one another. This is what Soul Sunday is all about, being able to share and communicate and say how we feel always, and have that be okay. And having a safe space, I think, is paramount. In even beginning to express your vulnerability. Can we please have a second to discuss that it's okay? It's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel uncomfortable with vulnerability. It's okay to struggle with it. It's okay to feel like it's not okay. How about that? And know that, and own that, and feel that. And anything that you feel, any feeling at any time is okay. You know why? Because feelings are transient. Feelings come and go. They are like waves, okay? So it is not, you're not going to feel that feeling always. It will mold and change based on your perspective and how you think. And conversations like this hopefully help shape your perspective a little more. You know what's cool? Again, I was alluding to this incredible TED Talk that I sincerely hope you all get a chance to watch. It is by a wonderful woman called Brené Brown. And here's how she breaks down vulnerability. It's called The Power of Vulnerability. And I have a few notes here. I'm going to walk you through this. It is going to blow your mind, okay? Check this out. She says that as human beings, we all crave connection. We are neurologically wired for it, okay? At the same time, because again, our survival instinct dictates this, we have a fear of disconnection. There's a duality to nature, okay? So anything that's good also has a dark side. So the good side is that we crave connection. The dark side is that we have a fear of disconnection, all right? And there is a certain emotion of shame and the fear emotion that is attached to that. The idea is that is there something wrong Is there something about me that other people don't know? That if other people know, is there something about me that if other people know, they will not accept me, they will not love me, I will not have a sense of belonging with? So we all think those things all the time. This is a common thread in our humanity, okay? At some point or another, I'm not saying you're doing it right now, but at some point or another, we all want to belong, we all want to be loved, and we all want to feel worthy of that. And sometimes we don't, okay? And there's this like shame and fear that's like tied into it, according to Brene Brown. Now, in order for connection to happen, connection, which we all crave, we need to allow ourselves to be truly seen. This is what she talks about. Isn't that remarkable? And I think, again, these are such simple ideas, but it's true, you know? So when you connect the dots on that, it's insanely powerful to be able to think that way. People that innately believe in this idea of love, belonging, and worthiness, people that have these sentiments built in already, that appreciate these sentiments, she calls the wholehearted. She calls them wholehearted. You know why? Because she says these people innately embrace vulnerability, and they have a strong sense of love, a strong sense of belonging, and a strong sense of worthiness. And all of these have to do, by the way, talk about our past, with the experiences that we have all shared in life. You know, our past shapes us in many ways. And so some people have these innately built in based on how they were raised, and others need to learn this throughout life. But it doesn't mean that we can't learn or develop these feelings of love, belonging, and worthiness, all right? However, the wholehearted, she says, believe they're innately worthy, all right? And that our fear that we're not worthy of connection keeps us from connection, all right? But what's awesome about the wholehearted is that they have courage. Woo, I love this. And we were talking about courage at the beginning of this, right? Courage, she says, comes from the Latin word cor, C-O-U-R, which means heart. I love this. This is my favorite part. The original definition to courage is to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. How beautiful is that? Have the courage to be who you are, which is always imperfect. All right, people, let's get that straight. Have the compassion to treat yourself as kindly as you might treat others, because only if you have that compassion for yourself are you able to give it to others. That's really how it works, you know. Only when you're looking at yourself in that way, and when you know that you should be looking at yourself in that way, are you able to give it. And that authenticity fosters connection. So when you're able to be vulnerable with people, you can connect. We all crave connection. It's a circle, right? When you're able to be vulnerable, you connect, you crave connection, you feel like you belong, you can give love, and you feel worthy. And it's a cycle that basically perpetuates itself. Isn't that wonderful? So the lesson in all of this is that you should be wholehearted, or aim to be wholehearted, aim to be authentic, because that's the only way towards connection and true connection, which is how we live life, which is what makes life worth living, which is what gives life meaning. Love Ann Pirvu says here on Twitch, isn't this beautiful? Love Ann Pirvu says, it's not about what others think about you. What do you think of you? This is important, able to stay to yourself and to make you stronger and to say no to our vulnerability. How lovely is that thought? Sorry about that, I lost a page here. Say no to vulnerability. I love that, but how about if we don't say no to it and we just sort of embrace it and we say, I see you, vulnerability. You're here. I got you. You're part of me, and that's okay. And you know what? I'm going to bypass this feeling of being uncomfortable, and I'm going to choose to be strong. I'm going to choose the courage of my heart, C-O-U-R, core, the Latin word for courage. I'm going to choose that first, no matter what, and then watch what happens. Then watch what happens. Isn't that beautiful? Have the courage to love hard, to feel deeply. You know why? Because only then can you have the fuel to sort of bounce into places that you have no idea even exist. Because people that feel deeply, there's two ways. You either go way up or way down, okay? You can be really high up there in emotion and achievement and feeling, or you could be really down in the dumps, all right? But like with anything, know that, again, whatever goes up must go down, and whatever goes down must always come up. So with that knowledge and that comfort that the waves, the flow of life will innately happen. So have the courage to go with it, even if it feels uncomfortable. Have the courage to show the world who you truly are, because that has true meaning and true power. Only when we can have the stability of, that foundation of sharing truly of ourselves, can we actually build with people in life. Build a life. If you're constantly if you're constantly trying to amend who you are personally, or trying to be something for others, or trying to be something that you're not, you're going to be lost in that. And that is a sure way towards depression and anxiety and pain and a loop of not much. Not much worth achieving, to be honest with you. I mean, truly, I don't even know where you go. And sadly, what happened in the last couple of weeks, we've lost some incredible people, and I'm not saying that's why we've lost them, but we lost Kate Spade, for example, in the last couple of weeks, and we lost Anthony Bourdain, and what happens with emotion is that oftentimes when we focus, our focus is our biggest source of strength, okay? So what happens with emotion is if we focus on negative emotion, the wave of it, whatever we focus on, we perpetuate, we amplify, it becomes bigger. So if you focus on negative thoughts, if you feed into your vulnerability in a negative way, it will only become darker, scarier, deeper in the black darkness, the murkiness. If we embrace our vulnerability and we see it as strength and we use it as fuel and motivation to take us further than we have ever gone before, again, the momentum of that focus is only going to bring us positive outcomes in our life. Yeah? Let's see what else my peeps are saying here. As Garrett.m says, personally, I felt vulnerable when Mexico suffered some earthquakes, but after all, I accept everything we were living, and we felt better thanks to our solidarity. Yay! Isn't that a lovely thought? Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, sweetheart. You're amazing. Gianna.t says, for me, it is better to be vulnerable because it always hurts more to pretend that nothing is wrong than accept it and try to change it. You are a beautiful human being, sweetheart. Thank you so much for sharing that. Isn't it more trouble, guys, to sort of pretend, to try to make up things, to try to be something that you're not? Isn't it always more trouble and more difficult to sort of go through that? Thank you for making that beautiful point, sweetheart. Why don't we all just accept that vulnerability is a commonality in our world, in our nature as human beings? And instead of just denying it and hiding it, which is what we do, by the way, guys, as an actor, this was one of the most amazing things that I was taught. We have access, each and every single one of us, to every emotion that ever exists. We are hotbeds of emotion as human beings. And that's why anyone can be an actor, which is hilarious. Acting is the art form of life. But because we all have access to those emotions, anything can trigger you at any time, right? So we constantly go through life pretending like, oh, I'm good, I'm not feeling anything, everything's fine, everything's good, nope, it's all good. And all of a sudden somebody will say something, or you'll see a sign in the street, or you'll hear a song, and then it brings you back to your vulnerability. It taps into your vulnerability because we all have it. It is a shared experience that we have as human beings. So take comfort in that, my dear, beautiful friends. Take comfort in the notion that we all go through it. Take comfort in the notion that there is something to get to the end of. There's light at the end of that tunnel that you're feeling. If you're feeling any kind of tunnel of darkness at any moment, there is an end to that tunnel. life is always worth living. There was this incredible, by the way, guys, Imagine Dragons is touring right now, okay? They are touring across the States and in the world. And I had the pleasure of attending the concert in Toronto last week. And I have incredible respect for Dan Reynolds, like huge mad respect, not just for the music, because they're one of my favorite bands of all time, but I have mad respect for the message, the mental health message that he is spreading. If you get a chance to watch it live, watch it live. But here is what he said. He took a moment in between all of the fabulous performance, and he said the following. Oh, this was my favorite part of the entire concert. I mean, if that's ridiculous, that's ridiculous. I'm ridiculous. Here it goes. There is nothing wrong with having depression or anxiety, he says. Shout it from the rooftops. You are not broken. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Go to a therapist. It's okay. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Go to a therapist. It's okay. Your life is always worth living. I found that to be one of the most courageous things that someone with that kind of a platform could spread, that kind of a message. He talked about his personal experience with depression and with anxiety. I've had depression and anxiety in the past, and I've come out the other end. And he talks about coming out the other end and using it in his art. And this is what happens. This is how our vulnerability is our biggest source of strength, because all of these experiences that we go through can either define us, so they can bring us down, they can defeat us, or they can be our sources of inspiration, or we can channel them into our work, into our creativity. We can share them with others, and they become our sources of strength as we understand these commonalities that exist between us. For Dan Reynolds to have the courage to say that, to have the initiative, to take the initiative, to take it upon himself, to make that such a beautiful point, touched my heart deeply. And I think it is one of the most wonderful messages. He is wholehearted. Talk about wholehearted, like Brene Brown is talking about. This is how we make a difference in one another's lives. This is how we make a difference, okay? We understand that we have impact with one another. We understand that we are in this world for a reason, and we can affect one another. And even the hardest things that happen to us in life are the best things that happen to us in life if we have the courage with our whole hearts to see it that way, to use it that way, to channel it in those ways. Please, my dear friends, have the courage. Have that courage. All it takes is making a decision. All it takes is saying, I see you, vulnerability. I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you as strength. I'm not going to let you defeat me and tear me down. It's okay to have depression. It's okay to have anxiety. It's okay. It's okay to go through life and struggle. It's okay. It's being human. Now, what are you going to do with that fuel that you get from that experience? You know? Oh, God, it's just such a wonderful thought. You know? Oh, my goodness. Look at my dear friend here, Irish Lad 0123 said, how beautiful. Oh, I'm being educated more here in 10 minutes than my entire school year. I love you so much. How lovely you are to even say that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. And thank you for finding resonance with the message, because I think it's very, very important. And as an actress, as a creative, you know what? Here's what I've noticed in my experience. This industry has a lot of incredibly talented, wonderful people in it, but there are a lot of people that get lost in it. There's a lot of people dealing with mental health issues because it's difficult to separate personally from the work. Your personality, who you are as a human being, is your product. So when you mix personal with business, there is room for a gray zone. There's a gray zone, okay? So a lot of people struggle with that gray zone. If you're not strong enough to know who you are and to sustain it, to sustain your own personality, yes, you can get lost. You can get lost in it, and you can hurt, and you can end up with a lot of issues like depression or anxiety, or God forbid worse. But the way to get out of that in any way, shape, or form, the way to overcome that, the way to transcend any kind of difficulty that may arise from this gray zone is focus. Focus. You have the power. Each and every single one of us has the power and the ability to focus on strength or on feeding into those negative thoughts. It's a choice. So understanding that and having this awareness that you have a choice to either go one way or another is such a powerful thing. Understanding that you always have the power whenever you feel low, whenever you feel down, whenever you feel shaky, that's your vulnerability coming out. Those are those feelings of shame and fear. Now, if you feed into those through focus, know that there cannot be any possible useful outcome for you. And know that it's within your power to stop feeding those. You know what I'm saying? It's totally up to you. It's like 100% up to you whether you're going to feed those negative thoughts or you're going to feed the positive, uplifting thoughts. You know what I mean? And you can. I believe in you. Every single one of us has the power to choose the latter one, you know? Let's see what other beautiful, sparkly comments. Reigning X Bash says, I felt vulnerable when Scotland didn't get until the World Cup. Oh, sweetheart, I know, I hear you. You know what? Romania was in the same boat. I was like, where's my Romanian team? I'm Romanian, by the way, everyone, for anyone joining us here. I was like, where's Romania? What's up with Romania? Romania used to be like a power to be reckoned with over the years. But you know what? Stuff happens. We can never control the cards that we're dealt with, right? So what are you going to do? Look at this. We're also, Reigning Expash says, Pistontropic means the feeling of weakness, vulnerability, and being afraid to trust someone. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that clarification of what we were talking about at the beginning of this live stream. Love and Pirvu says, to share your weakness is to make yourself vulnerable. To make yourself vulnerable is to show your strength. Beautiful words, my sweet. Annabelle.Forest4 says, you're so inspiring. I love you, sweetheart. I hate being vulnerable because I have been previously bullied for my weakness. So I really try to hide my vulnerable features. Oh, my sweet love. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for having the courage to share that. So here's what I want to say to that. It's never fun to be bullied. It's never okay to be bullied. But understanding where the mentality of a bully comes from, I think is a source of power and strength. And the mentality of a bully is one where, unfortunately, they don't know how to deal with their own emotions or handle their own emotions, so they take it out on others. You know, and oftentimes, I guarantee you, someone who has a tendency to be a bully is not very happy at home, is dealing with a lot of other, is being mistreated in some way or another, or their perception of life is that they're being mistreated, so they're taking it out on others because they don't know what else to do. And think about it in terms of, I like to think about it in terms of like, every single one of us are like little children. We're all little children, you know, and when we feel unsafe, we act out. So it comes back to this feeling of safety and security and you know, having a soft little pillow to sort of fall on. And it is never okay to be bullied. It is never okay to take anything out on anyone. But again, understanding where it comes from, I hope gives you a bit of peace and strength, because it's not about you, it's about them. That's what I'm trying to say. So don't take that personally. Don't think that you are less than. Don't think that you deserve to be bullied. Don't ever take it upon yourself. Don't ever take that negativity upon yourself, because it has nothing to do with you. And when you're able to make that distinction for yourself, whatever challenges have come your way, you're able to overcome them faster, because you understand that don't be so self-deprecating about it. There's nothing to deprecate yourself for when in that situation. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable in the future, my sweet, is what I'm trying to say, my beautiful Annabelle Forest 4. Because what is in the past is in the past. We cannot change it. Our biggest point of strength is what we do now with the knowledge that we have gained from our past experiences. And what you can do now with this knowledge and this understanding that we just talked about, that it's not about you, that anyone that chooses to bully, it's not about you, it's about them. Take that to heart and know that you have the world open to you from this moment on. The world is open. You can do whatever you want and do it. Do it knowing your value. Do it knowing you are loved. You are so loved. You are so perfect. You are so unique just the way you are. By breathing air in this world, you are perfect. You are perfect. Take your gifts and what you're good at and share them with the world and forget what happened in the past. It is alchemized. Whatever's happened to us in our past is alchemized into the person that we are today. It's already a part of you, so use it. Use and give of yourself. Share this vulnerability of who you are. Share it with the world. And I guarantee you, those that resonate with what you have to offer will flock to you. You will have so many beautiful friends because again, we are all human, and sharing our humanity authentically is our biggest source of strength. It really is. It gives you something to offer. It gives you something to share. Trust me on this. Don't let one past experience define how you're going to live the rest of your life. It is not worth it. You are worth it. Okay? I love you so much. Oh my God, you guys, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm missing 1,000 comments. Royal Scarson says, talking about vulnerability is making me really emotional. I love you, sweetheart. I love you for this, truly. This topic is making me want to sit down, write about my experiences, be vulnerable, and possibly help someone. Yes, my beauty. Oh, you gave me chills just reading that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing that, and I sincerely hope that you do. Feeling what we feel, that is our biggest source of strength. It's the pathway to inspiration. Allowing yourself to feel feelings is the pathway to inspiration. Not motivation, not what others want us to do, not pushing ourselves to places that may or may not be good for us. Inspiration. Emotions are the gateway to the most powerful points of expression that we have available to us as human beings. Use them, my beauties. Use them and share them and believe in their worth, because anything authentically emotional that you share is valuable. It is the most valuable thing you can share. And there is no price on that kind of value. And that kind of value has impact. Look at what Dan Reynolds, look at Imagine Dragons, look at what he's doing right now, touring the world, sharing the beautiful music that came out of, and he shares this openly. A lot of the songs he was able to write because of his depression and anxiety, to expressing those kinds of feelings that were coming out of there. You know, and look at what you're able to do from a place of vulnerability. You know, some of the most wonderful things some of the characters that I've been able to draw inspiration from, some of the characters I've been able to build as an actor, I drew inspiration from some of the toughest things that have ever happened to me in my life. What I'm doing right now, was inspired by messages that I've received from fans asking about how to handle depression and anxiety, and the knowledge that I've been there and I can help. This is why I'm doing this. This is where Soul Sunday came from. You know, isn't it wonderful to know that you can turn whatever vulnerability, whatever pain, whatever hurt you have into something beautiful, connected, valuable, into a sense of belonging, into a community. My beautiful, sparkling community that I love you. I love you guys so much. And you're making my Sundays every Sunday. You know, I mean, how wonderful is that thought? Think of that. Think of that. Anything vulnerable you can use as a source of strength. Oh, I love you guys so much. Look at all my little Twitch friends. Look at this beautiful little cup. It makes me so happy right now that we are also simulcasting on Twitch. It is just fun. It is so much fun. I can't even tell you. So, what I normally do here, and Twitch friends, I apologize. We might not be able to see this, but I want to hear some of your beautiful voices, and I'm going to do this on Instagram Live. Who wants to chat? Who wants to talk about vulnerability? Why won't this work? Gracie, you come in. Sweetheart, let's try to add you, okay, my love? I'm showing you. Da-da-da. Look at this gorgeous girl. Look at this gorgeous girl. Oh, nope, that's not working out. That didn't work out the way I wanted to. What happened here? Nope. Gracie, let's try one more time, my love. Let's try to see if we can add you. Adding Gracie. This is where I sing and I try to bring beautiful people to chat. Oh my goodness. While we wait for that, Cindy Delestein says, there are times we suppress feelings because we fear how we react to being vulnerable. Know that it's okay to feel all those feelings. Yes, my love. Thank you so much for reminding us of that. We suppress because we fear how we react to being vulnerable. And also because we don't know how our vulnerability is going to be perceived. You know, in caveman days, if you showed any kind of vulnerability, boom, they bonked you about the head. And they were like, what's wrong with this one? This one's defective. This one's not going to make it out of the cave, you know? We are no longer in those times, my dear friends, and that's the beauty of all of this. You know what I mean? We are no longer, we're living in a society where expressing ourselves is some of the most deeply human thing that we can do, you know? So don't be afraid of that. I don't know where that came from. Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. Ali T. Coast Mary says, I really wish to be more vulnerable to allow myself to be stronger and really connect to others. Yes, my love, you can do it. Honestly, it is absolutely possible. Every single one of us has the capacity for connection, and every single one of us has the capacity to choose which way to go. We can either choose vulnerability to be a strength for us, or we can choose vulnerability as a weakness. And I will always be in your corner, cheering you on towards choosing the most authentic thing you can share. You know why? Because when each of us share authentically of ourselves, we can encourage each other to be the best that we can possibly be. Isn't that an amazing thought? If we don't share authentically of ourselves, we don't attract those parts of each other. Like, have you ever been in a situation where you just can't stop having so much fun? You get so creative. One person says one thing, and another person says one thing, and then boom, 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 and you build on that, and it's just the most incredibly wonderful experience because you are both allowing yourselves to be in the moment and build on what each other is saying. Now, without authenticity, that kind of building cannot happen. It cannot. You won't have as much fun. You won't have as much power. You won't have as much impact without being your authentic self. So have that courage, my beautiful friends. Even if you're vulnerable, it is the way to connection. It is the way to everything that you can ever want. Ever. Ascarrot.m says, personally, I felt vulnerable when Mexico suffered earthquakes. Oh, did I read this one? I may have already read that comment. Raining Bash says, my English isn't very good, especially right now since I'm trying to listen to you, but my family are speaking Gaelic, so I'm getting very confused. I am so happy that I read this aloud, my sweet love. Thank you for attempting. Thank you for attempting to understand what we're talking about, even if you guys are watching from all over the world and you can't. I hope you get to watch this Twitch live stream or get to watch this back and take a moment and really absorb some of these points that we're unpacking because I think they're so powerful and so valuable. Ali T. Coast Mary says, I suffer with anxiety and I'm constantly thinking no one likes me. I have to constantly be careful with this and it's really hard to connect with people, but becoming vulnerable and allowing myself to be me is important. Oh, my love, thank you so much for sharing this. How much time do we have here? We have some time. I suffer with anxiety and I'm constantly thinking no one likes me. My sweet babe. Thank you very much for sharing that. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to, first of all, acknowledge that. Okay, so I want to tell you how proud I am of you for knowing where you stand. Because admitting that we have an issue is the first step towards change. It's the first step towards your decision that you are no longer going to allow anxiety to take over. You are going to take over anxiety. Isn't that a wonderful thought? Just by you acknowledging that I suffer with anxiety and I'm constantly thinking no one likes me. It's okay. It's okay. What this tells me is that you're ready for change. And at this very moment, you can do it. Trust me. Just decide. It's as simple as saying, from today on, I want to take charge of my anxiety. Now, Understand that even when you make a decision, it is not going to happen overnight, and that's okay. Everything is a process. Everything is a building block. Every experience is a building block in the journey of our life. And that is the beauty of being alive. Nothing happens overnight. And some things happen overnight, but the majority of things don't happen overnight. So know that it's okay if this doesn't happen for you overnight. If this change, this being able to take hold of your anxiety doesn't happen overnight. The fact that you have made the decision to own it has started you on the right path. And maybe tomorrow, maybe another day from now, maybe a month from now, maybe a year from now, it will get easier to manage, and it will get easier to manage, because the way that the universe works, have you guys heard about the law of attraction? I love this thought. Thoughts build upon themselves, all right? So your intention to take charge of this is going to draw positive momentum to you actually taking charge of this. And eventually, before you know it, you're going to take charge of it. You're going to be fine. You're going to be less anxious. You're going to like yourself more, because you should always like yourself. You know why? Because you are worthy beyond expression, just the way you are right now. You are worthy beyond expression. You are loved. And oftentimes it takes us opening our eyes to the love and the beauty and the worth around us. There are so many ways that you can be loved and that you can experience love and express love in this world. So open your eyes to that all around you. Never think that there's just one way, never just expect it from one avenue. Open yourself up to this idea that you are surrounded by beauty and love, and you are. And you will start seeing it all around you, and you will start attracting it all around you, because what you broadcast is what comes back at you in terms of energy, right? So if we believe, I'm looking at the rest of your comment, you say it's really hard to connect with people, but becoming vulnerable and allowing myself to be me is important, right? If you believe that it's hard to connect with others, it will be hard to connect with others. This is, again, the power of our mind. The power of a positive mindset is understanding that you can shape those beliefs. Beliefs are just thoughts that you keep thinking. So if you understand that you can change that belief, it's not hard to connect with people. When you remember that we are innately meant to connect with people, you know that you can. You know that you have the capacity to do it at any time. And you will. You just have to decide. Make that first step, make that decision, and you'll be able to do it. And slowly, 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 allowing myself to be me, she says. How beautiful you are, sweetheart. Isn't that one of the most difficult things for all of us to do in life, is to allow ourselves to be ourselves? I struggle with that every day, and because I am open-hearted, wholehearted, because sometimes you have to disengage your ego in order to be able to connect and relate to other people. It's not easy. It's not easy to be vulnerable, ever, and to open yourself up like that. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it, my dear friends. You know why? Because when you open yourself up, and when you are your truthful, open, lovely, loving self, that's what comes back at you. Shoot, they're giving me 2 minutes here on Instagram Live. No! Oh my goodness, where is this hour gone? I literally don't even know. It's unbelievable. But what I want to say is that, just to finish up this point that we were making, and oh my God, I can't believe I have to leave you guys. This is so sad. It is your sensitivity that allows you to express yourself most authentically, okay? And every time you put your heart out there, every time you are your true self, even if it feels like a failure in the moment, you're strengthening and reinforcing who you truly are. And that is what we have as human beings. Us. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take you away from you, okay? You always have that. So why would you not want to be your true, authentic, vulnerable, beautiful, perfect self and put something valuable, which is you, into this world? Then choose the other side of vulnerability. which is not. Choose to use it as a strength. Choose to show us your heart. Choose to be courageous and live life openly. Just like our One Republic song, I Lived, told us at the beginning of this beautiful hour. Choose to be courageous and see what's possible. That's how we know what is truly, truly, truly possible, is when we have that courage. So I want to encourage you to be vulnerable and love it. And please join us again for Soul Sunday, because I am incredibly grateful for your energy, for your time, for your ideas. I cannot wait to look back on your beautiful comments that I have missed from all over the world, because this is what we do here on Soul Sunday. We have meaningful conversations about different topics. Next Thursday, I'm going to introduce a really, really exciting topic. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, of my wholehearted, massive heart. Be vulnerable. I love you. There it goes. Insta Live is going to be up for the next 24 hours. Isn't that exciting? I am beyond grateful to have had this amazing experience here on Twitch. This is our first Twitch broadcast, and it was a bit of an experiment today, and I look forward to continuing to experiment with it and playing with my little cup. Where's my little cup? Oh, there it is. There it is. Doop, 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 doop. I don't know why it amuses me so much. I absolutely love it. I want to also see if I've missed any comments here from you guys. Oh my God, you're so wonderful. Please be vulnerable. Please love hard. Please, whatever you do, put your whole heart into it, because there's such value in that. And I will see your beautiful faces next Sunday.